Good morning. All right. I'll start with birthday. Shirley had one on Saturday. What a gorgeous day for a birthday. Rick
We had a good
Krogan.
time too.
Rick Krogan, Kelly Madden, Dave Kuykendall, and Matt Johnson is this month. 80 days without a chargeable accident, so great job there. Right now Matt is passing out our pins. They're an appreciation pin from the district administrators and the Board of Education. I am on here, thank you to Susan Ryan, because she asked if she could do the planters out front, but I haven't seen her, so I haven't confirmed it was her, but I think that's who did that. The planters at the front door.
Susan Ryan.
Susan Ryan. She had asked if she could do that, because Mary Chandler wasn't, no?
Well, it's already done right now.
No, I'm saying, like, I'm assuming she came in and did that because she had asked if she could, but I haven't seen her to ask her. So if it wasn't her, thank you. Was it you? Thank you, Pamela.
There you go.
Yeah, she came in a couple weeks ago and asked if she could do it because she knew Mary Chandler wasn't here anymore. So thank you. Thank you, it looks great.
We still never do it.
Well, I'm glad I asked. You want to give a thank you to the wrong person, because I really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference walking up to that door and, you know, seeing something nicely put together like that. If you guys haven't seen the email from Adam from April 29th, those of you that missed work and had to use your own sick time because you had COVID, you had a positive COVID, you need to look at that and see how you can get those sick days back if you're fully vaccinated. Right? I understand that some people don't agree with everything that's going on, but we don't need to cause divisiveness here. Everybody has the right to their own opinions, all right? We also have, we give this out every year, your letters of assurance for you to fill out. Basically states that the district does plan on employing you again next school year. Just fill it out, name, date, mark it down yes, no, whatever you're planning on doing, and sign it, and then get them back to us by Friday. This is Friday. All right? Pass them back, I guess, on both sides. Oh, you don't have enough. All right. You don't have enough. All right, we did already pass out the May and June important dates. So if you haven't checked your box, you need to check it. If you can't find yours, let us know. We'll give you another one. We do have early dismissal. Geneva has early dismissal this Friday. Matt just sent that out this morning, what everyone is doing. So make sure you double check it. I know, like, a lot of times it doesn't change for people, you know, with your normal routes, but just double check and make sure nothing's been changed for you. And then we also sent out revised bid times. Probably had left someone in there that shouldn't have been in there, and a couple little other things. So make sure that you have your correct, I know. The thing is that I could have people, you know, right up to the end telling me they're retiring, so, that's it. I won't change it again, I promise. That's latest, greatest, and I won't change it. Matt, do you wanna go next? I can take that.
Let's send out the high school final schedule.
We have that, yeah, we'll get it out to you. I actually have a whole spreadsheet for May and June, trying to keep track of everything. I thought about sending it out, but I didn't want to make it more confusing. I'm gonna stop for a second here because Matt has an announcement.
So, everyone, it is with a heavy heart that I have to announce that at the end of the month, I will no longer be with Geneva. I have accepted a position in the Champaign School District as their assistant director, so I will be finishing out the school year, and then I will be moving on. Thank you.
Bittersweet.
Yes.
It is. It is very bittersweet.
Definitely.
You better stop at the liquor store.
Yeah, right? I walked in this morning and they're like, oh, good, you showed up.
Taking out the whole year?
Yeah, he's gonna stay until the end of school. I know. I have to tell you though, guys, I am very happy for Matt.
Me too.
You know, I'm a type of boss that encourages people to learn more and always, you know, keep striving for more. So, like you guys said, it's bittersweet, but very, very happy for him.
Are you gonna move, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know how soon, you know. Yeah, I guess it sounds kinda stupid. huh?
What's the role?
Yeah.
I had a long weekend.
It's very similar to what I'm doing. It'd be the assistant director. There's two of them down there, so I'll be working side by side with another person. But it's overseeing essentially the entire transportation underneath of a director, so very similar to what I'm doing now.
When I'm down there next year for basketball, look me up.
All right, I will. You've got my number, Steve. Oh, there you go.
All right, a few reminders about sweeping your buses out, emptying the garbage. I'm getting a lot of complaints from people that are having to use buses and they get on them and they're disgusting. And so that's what I keep hearing. You guys get 2 15-minute pre-trips a day, and part of that is to give you some time to keep up with your bus, so it's not looking disgusting. Reminder to turn in your letters from the state after you go and you get your physical and we send in your update to the state. You're gonna get a letter that confirms that they've received everything, you're good for another year. Don't forget to turn those in over the summer. No cell phones at the pumps. I don't see it a lot, but I just did see it within the last 2 weeks, someone talking on the cell phone when they were pumping. Don't do that. Last day, we'll just go over it again. Take your personal belongings with you and empty your garbage. We do want the buses filled with, you know, diesel, gas, whichever, and the DEF tanks full for the summer.
Are they doing a different time, departure on the last day?
We've not heard that. I know, they usually do.
I have heard that from the elementary, which was odd, so let's see.
Elementary, if anything, will leave an hour early, I think is typical for them.
Okay,
But they're still,
it's weird, right?
it is.
I don't think we should have to work, but.
Me too. And if you have food in the refrigerator, make sure you get it cleaned out. I'm gonna skip over summer route bit, so I'll let you do that one. And then you'll also see if you guys wanna be called over in summer, you know, if there's a field trip, if there's safety lanes, things like that. But before I turn it over to Matt to go over those things, we've had a question come up. We tried this both ways with bidding, all right? So, especially special needs routes, we try, is to keep the routes current, because they can change, you know, every 2 hours. Poor Matt, when we're bidding, is trying to keep up with it, to give the drivers the most accurate information, all right? Now, when we do that, though, someone could come in and say, oh my God, it's changed, I have my route picked already. And now they have to look at everything again to figure out what they want. If we don't change, then we had the opposite problem with someone saying, that's not fair, I would have picked that route had you made the change. Right? Because now it's longer. It doesn't matter to us how we do it. Obviously, it affects your pay for an entire year. So kind of just throwing it out there. Does anyone have any suggestions, any feelings on this of how they would like it handled?
Make the changes so we know what we're bidding on.
I agree. I mean, I think that worked out the best. We also tend to be running ahead of time. So say someone comes running in and, oh my God, you just changed it and I had my pick. I think we could give them an extra 5 minutes. But I also don't want to start, well, I want 5 extra minutes. Everybody can't have 5 extra minutes. Where do we draw the line? Joanne?
Would there be a way just to put something on the outside of the folder that this one's been changed, and that way when you glance over them, you could?
Yeah, I mean, we make people aware of it. The problem is, we had a few drivers think it wasn't fair that they had to figure out their pick, because, they could be coming in to pick, you know, in 5 minutes, and we just had a change come in. So they, you know, that feeling of, it's not really fair to me because I didn't know this, you know, I just found out.
I think when we bid, we all have to have different scenarios for whatever your life requires. If this is gone, I gotta do this path, or, you know.
So it's the luck of the draw. You're gonna have changes last minute. It's just
Yeah.
kinda like, it's just gonna be how it is. It's
Right.
like lottery on the, you know?
Shirley?
Maybe put the changes on a different colored piece of paper so that when you come in, we automatically know that there's a change on that one.
But I don't think the issue is we're not making people aware of it. The issue is if it's your turn to bid in 5 minutes and we just made a change, and now you have to rethink how you want to bid, you know, which route you want to bid on.
It is what it is.
And I think, you know, there are a lot of drivers that it's time, right? You're bidding on time. So I would think for most people, it's like, all right, well, if you just took a kid off that route, here's my second pick. But I don't know, you know, I'm not in that situation.
Well, to Shirley's point, if there was, I think last year you tried to update it via emails or whatever. If you could highlight the change maybe in a different color on that email, because I know that I missed some that had been changed just the night before.
I thought we were highlighting, no? No?
Not the
Okay.
changes.
But you're still back to, so,
Right.
here's a couple scenarios. You walk in with your bid sheet. You look at it, you pick it, and you're walking out. He's on the phone with the change already. So the one option is, he stops you and, you know, that you talk, and maybe it's an update, all right, I would have taken that. The other scenario though is, you do your sheet, you sign out, you're out the door, you're done. and he's on the phone with changes. That's the whole, that's the issue. It doesn't really matter
It
about.
happened last year. It happened as they were.
It's happened both ways, except so the year prior, we stopped it, right? We won't make any changes because it seemed unfair for everyone bidding. But then the complaint was, I would have bid on something else because had that change been made at the time it came in, I would have had a longer route. So it goes both ways.
That happens all year.
Yeah.
It does,
It
all
does.
year
And
for
then a
everyone.
week later, a month later, a guy
Mhm.
gets an awesome round because
Yes.
he's got a homeless kid to pick up.
Right.
It just happens.
Right. Teresa?
Honestly, not trying to be rude, but that's the business that we in at this point, so ain't no need nobody whining about it.
You.
You have a good day, man.
Is there anyone that disagrees with Teresa?
Well, like you said, she's new.
She'll learn. I still have 20 years in it besides being here, that's the job.
Is it, obviously Fourth Street's not getting you the information, can they get more information?
Oh, they get us the information, things change. Yeah. And he would have them all set up and ready to go, the damn bidding, we're getting changes, this kid's not going here anymore, they're going there.
Yeah.
And that's special needs.
So the proposal is to stay with real time, do it the best we can.
Right.
Yep.
That's where we're leaning. Yes, I see a lot of shaking heads, yes, everyone agrees.
Otherwise, it's a perpetual.
It is. It's not perfect either way, and we'll highlight. That should make it a little easier. Got, what, 3 weeks left? So just keep on signing up for those field trips. So far, we're making it somehow and getting these field trips done. So I really appreciate that. Everyone has helped a great deal. And just let's keep it up for a few more weeks and get through this. May 19th, you guys have probably seen, North is going to Great America, and May 24th, South is going to Great America. We've put them up as a drop and pick because we just don't have the ability to cover 6 routes. So in the morning, you would do your AM route, and then we would pick the students up at North or South, whichever one. You'll take them there, you'll come back for your PM route, and then you'll go back up to get them.
No, never mind.
What, basket?
I was gonna say, can you bid drop and bid pick? I mean, I think that's gonna be really difficult.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really rough.
Yeah.
We're good.
It's not how it's up there currently, but.
I know, that's why.
So how many
Would you
hands?
stay
It
on the
can't
clock?
be bid on the first
How
anyway.
many hands, you'd rather see it split, you don't wanna do that both ways.
Split it.
Because what we can do is go through the bidding process and then what's left we can split, if we don't have a huge interest in that. You would stay on the clock as long as you're driving, so,
Well, to make it more attractive, why not stay on the clock and then re-punch in for your route and then stay on the clock the whole time?
well, cause I can't just keep, I can't pay drivers to,
No, I know, but-
paying to sit here in the
I know,
garage or
I
going
feel
lunch.
Split it crowd the rest.
So you're gonna be, 8:30 loading, you're not even gonna leave until what? Surely you've been done this how many
9:15.
times, 9 o'clock maybe they're leaving,
Yeah.
getting up there at what time? driving back.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be a significant amount of time.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, you're probably.
I think going back to the
You'll be
afternoon is
close.
gonna be.
Yeah.
What time do they go back? What time do they leave in the afternoon? Does they have to be up there to pick up?
No,
at
you
one time?
probably are.
They wanna leave around 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Up there or down here?
Cause the park has significantly changed their hours, they don't
From
stay
the
open
park.
past 7 o'clock anymore.
Right.
They don't have the staff any more than anybody else does.
So you'd have to leave here.
Right after round.
Yeah, you'd have to leave basically right after your route to head up there.
See, I can do a pickup, but I can't do it. No, they puke, you tell them, you puke, you gotta clean it up.
That's why you gotta check your vote, Bannon.
Just sent an email out about Bovan. All right.
So, I'm sorry, what are we doing with that?
It seemed to me like everyone said leave it together and then split it when we get to that point.
I split it.
If we have a couple of trips left over, then split it after we go through the rounds.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever it takes. Let's just get this year over, huh?
We've been saying that for 2 years. I think that was it for me.
Just one more thing on field trips before we jump off of that one is I still have 2 that I'm going to announce again this afternoon that you heard me announce this morning. Cause I still need people to help cover that up. Thursday is rough for us. Most of our subs are already doing everything or they're out of hours at this point because every elementary school is trying to fit in all of their trips. And just this morning, I came into Sherry emailing me that she has 3 more athletic trips that wanna get scheduled this week. So there's going to be a lot of field trips getting announced this week. So I am begging you to please step up and help me out when I announce them.
Did you fill that Friday?
The Friday one has not been filled yet, no.
You got Saturday field trips?
No Saturday yet.
I'm not sure, I get about part of the route, but I can probably do Friday.
Okay. And then, before we jump into the training, summer routes. I passed around a clipboard because I don't think everybody saw my email asking if you were interested in summer routes. So I'm asking that you please check mark, even if you've emailed already, whether you are interested or not, so that I know who to call in for bidding this week. I was originally going to do them Thursday and Friday, but with early dismissal, I'm gonna push it up to Wednesday and Thursday. So same as every other year is that drivers with special needs routes get first choice of the routes that have their students on them. And then we'll open it up to everybody after those drivers have gone through. I do have a bid cheat sheet for all of the routes right here. If you guys would like one, I can pass those around.
Matt, that board that we signed, I thought that was summer subs.
There's 2 sheets on there. There's one for summer subs and there's one for summer routes. Because we'd also like to know who's willing to at least come in and help out.
Yeah. I know what it's
This afternoon, I am hoping to get, well, the plan is to have all of the routes sitting on the table in the hallway for you guys to actually come in and view them, see whose students are on what bus, who can bid on what. We are asking only 3 people in the hallway at a time because it gets very noisy when you get a bunch of people out there all at once. But they will be up there by noon today. The routes will be out there for you guys to look at. Any question on summer routes? No?
Bless you, Bill.
Yeah.
When is actual route you need, news that when are we starting?
Bidding will start Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm gonna bring in the drivers that already do special needs and have them sign for their routes if they're going to keep their route. And then Thursday, I will call in the drivers, or at least call you on the phone, figure out what you want, and have you come in and sign for it. I know everybody's got plans, so we're gonna work around what we gotta do to make sure that you still get your pick.
Oh, I'm on the camera.
Hey, Matt?
Yeah.
Just a quick one, on the summer, so the monitors, we obviously won't have enough monitors.
No, I need 5 monitors this summer, and if both of the monitors sign up, I have 2. So, we haven't established exactly how we're going about that yet, but we do need drivers to sign up to be a monitor this summer.
So that'll be part of the bid process starting Wednesday then?
Yes.
Okay.
Driver pay or?
I gotta work with Mary on that one first. I'm not 100% sure yet. I will know by bidding though.
Good luck.
All right. We are going to go over student management. I know it's getting near the end of the year, but I've been getting a lot of calls for videos. Kids are getting restless. They're ready for the school year to be over. But we still gotta try and keep them safe on the bus. I mean, I just had one last week. 2 kids got into a fist fight on the bus.
Oh, duct tape.
Time out shirt.
Duct tape and bungee cords.
So, as a driver, we all know, number 1 priority is getting those kids to school safely. That should be your number 1 priority. And making sure you've got these students in good behavior is very different than keeping them in good behavior in the classroom, because you are mobile. One kid being disruptive or getting crazy on the bus can set a dangerous scenario for everyone on the bus. So we all have our roles to play and expectations to follow on the school bus. And under ideal conditions, the students should stay seated, keep their limbs and belongings within the confines of the seating compartment, face forward, and talk quietly and respectfully as to not distract the driver. Are you gonna be able to get your full bus of 30 kids to listen to all of that? You hope so. But sometimes you gotta pick your battles. But the most important ones are especially staying in their seat and facing forward. Those seats are designed with what's called compartmentalization, meaning them sitting in their seat facing forward is the safest they're going to be on that bus. It is specifically designed that if you were to take an impact, those seats are cushioned and designed for them to be in the seats facing forward. If they're sitting sideways with their legs hanging out into the aisle, they're not getting that same protection that somebody else is going to get. If all of the students would follow the rules, this would make your job much easier, and mine, because I wouldn't spend hours watching videotapes trying to figure out what's going on the bus. But students are in varying stages of physical and emotional development. They're constantly exploring and adjusting, and may need help understanding what is acceptable and appropriate behavior depending on their age level. Kindergartners, as most of you know, it's their first time on the bus for most kids, and they are really learning the rules and trying to figure out what they can and can't do on the bus. And unlike many other locations, student behavior on the school bus has a direct bearing on the safety of every person on that bus. Students who act up or cause a disruption can be putting everybody at risk. For that reason, you must play a dual role as a bus driver and a people manager. Students need to learn how to control their actions, behaviors, and emotions, but when they don't, to the extent that safety might be affected, you must step in and address the situation. Students should be expected to follow the rules, but not be models of perfect behavior at all times. Like I said, you're gonna have to pick your battles. There are going to be times where they're going to be a little louder than normal, or they're gonna try and turn around and talk to their friends. So you have to take that into consideration. Is it a actual safety hazard what they're doing? As the leader of your bus, you must recognize the difference between reasonable expectations and unreasonable expectations for student behavior. Students should be expected to follow the rules, but not be a perfect model at all times. To expect students to remain seated because their own safety is put at risk if they move around while the bus is moving. To expect students to keep their arms and heads inside the bus, or to expect students to keep their voices low and their words respectful, one is more safety concerning than the other. Now, we obviously want them to keep their voices low and be respectful towards the other, but it's not trying to say it's not a concern, but it's less of a concern than if they're hopping seats. Preventing these behaviors starts with rules along with consequences for breaking them. Rules for acceptable behavior and unacceptable behavior must be clearly spelled out and consistently enforced, because unacceptable behavior on the school bus can have potentially fatal consequences. Whenever you are forced to address a student's behavior while driving, you're not focused on driving. Instead, you're focused on that student's behavior. We need you guys focused on the road as much as possible. For students, riding the bus is a privilege that can be removed if they do not follow the rules. Now remember, you cannot remove them from that, but if you guys are documenting this, school can revoke that right from them. So make sure that the rules are set for acceptable behavior and safety on the bus. And I know we've got the posted rules already on the buses, but you want to enforce those as much as you can. Sorry, I have a PowerPoint built and I'm kind of just grazing through it because I know we've covered a lot of this before. Beware a dog?
Yeah.
You got a dog running up to you?
No, when they get on the bus, beware a dog.
Oh.
I'm the alpha on that bus.
Well, might need to on your bus. You can avoid many behavioral problems on the bus and encourage the development of good behaviors by recognizing good behavior and reinforcing it in a positive way. Understanding which behaviors require your attention and which ones are the best ignored so you can focus on driving, and enforcing consequences when necessary. Positive reinforcement is a powerful way to influence behavior, and it involves taking action immediately after you spot good behavior to increase the likelihood that the behavior is being repeated. The goal is to reinforce good behavior rather than focusing on bad behaviors. Bad behaviors might be easier to spot and address in a negative way, but positive reinforcement is much more likely or is much more effective way to improve their behavior. You must immediately address behaviors that affect safety or that might escalate into a bigger problem that affects safety. But choose your battles carefully and don't nitpick. Students engage in many behaviors that might be annoying or attention-getting, but not dangerous. Sometimes simply ignoring a behavior will make it go away, and if it does not, you may want to address it one-on-one with a student as long as you are consistent and equitable. At times, you may need to discipline students for wrongdoing, the same as a teacher might do in a classroom or a parent at home. If administered properly, discipline should cause a bad behavior to stop or lessen. Discipline might include verbally reprimanding a student, changing where the students sit, or contacting the school to let them know of the behavior. Discipline may be one of the hardest problems you face as a school bus driver. It requires discipline on your part to stay in control of your emotions and remain calm, fair, and equitable in your response. You must also administer school rules and work with the school administrators and parents in maintaining discipline among your students. We're going to skip ahead, actually. I have a video that I would like you guys to watch. It is two people from a school district. They went to a CPI training, which is learning how to de-escalate and talk with people to help resolve a situation. And they took this and applied what they learned to specifically school buses and how to deal with students on the bus. And I think this is a really good video of examples of how to deal with the students when you have behavior issues.
Always give the same consideration to student management. Let's take a look at some of the techniques, skills, and concepts which could assist you through some challenging situations that may arise on your school bus. This summer, we had the opportunity to take part in a CPI training course, crisis intervention course, and I highly recommend it if you ever get the opportunity to do so. We took and extrapolated the best parts, or not necessarily the best parts, but the parts that were most pertinent to school bus drivers and school bus driving, and adapted them for our needs. So we're going to talk a bit about communication and some different communication skills that we can utilize to help us get through some maybe sticky situations, either with an angry parent or student, or just a situation itself that you find yourself in that might need some of these concepts or ideals that might assist you to get through that situation. And one of the communication skills that we're going to talk about first is paraverbal. The paraverbal is basically how you say what you say. So we're going to have Sharon give us some examples of the paraverbal.
So as Teresa was talking about paraverbal has to do with your tone, your volume, and the rhythm of your speech. So, for example, if you find yourself in a difficult situation, one of the best things to do is take that moment, take a deep calming breath, and just breathe a moment. Think about what you're going to say and to remain calm. And then remember, your behavior influences other behaviors from other people. So we can use the same phrase and it could have two different meanings. So one of them would be, "Are you talking to me?" Or, "Are you talking to me?" As you can see, the same words, two very different responses that you'll probably get based on your tone, your volume, and your rhythm. So another example might be, "What's the matter with you?" Or,
"What's the matter with you?"
There again, you have the same words coming out in a different tone, a different volume, and a different rhythm. You're going to get a different response.
Delivery is very important. So Watch what you say. Choose those words wisely. Keep your message kind of short, to the point. Just make sure that when you're making your valid point, that it doesn't get lost in how it's delivered.
It's not what you say, but how you say it sometimes. These children may have things happening in their own homes that we, again, don't know anything about. Could have been a teenager just breaking up with a boyfriend or girlfriend. Could have been, I got a horrible grade on my test. It could have been mom and dad are fighting. You know, it could be something that they're experienced as a joyful time and they're just overly excited about it because they're getting ready to go on vacation to Disney World. But, you know, these are the types of things that may influence a child's behavior. So we just always want to recognize that fact. And it's important for us to be professional at all times.
Now we're going to move on to nonverbal cues and clues and skills. We do a lot of nonverbal communication through our facial expressions. Just a smile or a frown can tell somebody kind of what you have in mind. My face and facial expressions give me away almost instantly. We can also do body posture and stance, how we stand. So all of these things are nonverbal cues as to how we're communicating with our students. So be mindful of how your own nonverbal communication, facial expression, and stance is changing your relationship with your students or affecting them.
Something just as simple as a touch. Oftentimes, a touch can mean a lot of different things. A touch can be, is everything okay? A touch could be a sign of concern. A touch could be, congratulations, that's great news. So congratulatory. A touch can convey a lot of different things. So we want to make sure that you are respectful of the student. Anytime we're utilizing touch, we want to be respectful because many cultures might take that in a different way. So we have to be respectful of the different cultures that we're involved in, but it just is part of the nonverbal communication.
Do keep in mind that some students do have sensory issues, so touch may not be the best choice of nonverbal communication.
So our posture, our proximity to someone, and our facial expressions also indicate are all nonverbal things that we talk about. When we also talk about the proximity to somebody, there is a certain space at which it is very comfortable for people to stand at. And if you are too close to that person, you might be creating an uncomfortable situation. For example, this might be standing a little too close.
And oftentimes you will see that person react in their own way, also non-verbally, usually by taking a step back. You always know when you're in that person's bubble because they will usually try to move away or you'll get a more frightened
you might have
face
more
or
nonverbal clues.
You'll get more nonverbal clues,
Right.
for sure. When you're also in proximity and when you're speaking with someone and you want a non-threatening position, you want to take a position that hopefully will be more eye level. So if your students are sitting down, consider getting on their level. So you're not in that power position of standing up and towering over them. You might have a very valid point that you're trying to make, but it could get lost in translation or ignored altogether if it's presented in a combative way. So keep your messages short, simple, clear, and respectful. Positive's good too.
So as Therese mentioned, it's not always what you say, but how you say it. Moving on, we'd like to talk about recognizing risk behavior. So if you have a student who may be experiencing a state of agitation, perhaps you have a student that could be rocking back and forth, they seem very agitated, they're moving a lot, that could be a sign that that student is very agitated.
Another sign might be someone who's fidgeting with a fidget toy or a pen or pencil. Maybe they're bouncing their knee up and down on the ground. Those are all usually signs of a heightened state of agitation. We want to make sure that we are aware that a student might be in a heightened state of agitation, because we know that that's usually a time that it's ripe for a verbal or physical altercation. And if we are aware that that's a possibility, we can take steps to hopefully de-escalate that and prevent it from happening altogether.
Again, that's why you take that calm breath, think clearly about what you want to say, because you don't want to escalate any type of situation and create that child to get more agitated.
Okay. So we're going to give you a few examples of maybe something that you have already encountered with some of your students, and maybe a couple ideas of how to circumvent the situation.
Okay, Therese, I'm going to give you some instructions because I want you to cross in front of the bus. As you exit the bus, I would like for you to walk along 10 steps along the curb side of the road, and then turn back to me, and look, I will have my hand up in the window. When I lower my hand, you may start your cross.
Why are you treating me like a baby? I can cross the street all by myself. I don't need you telling me what to do. What do you know? You're just a school bus driver anyway. Giving both the driver and the student time and space would be beneficial to reduce tension and de-escalate the situation. Saving a dialogue for the next morning to address the student's outburst and behavior would likely be the best option in this case.
So she has exited the bus, and I am going to talk about this with her tomorrow when she has calmed down and things are a little less stressful and she's a little less frustrated.
Make sure you follow through with what you say you're going to do, particularly when it is in regards to behavior. Another one that we're going to talk about is the when and then. And I really like the when and then, particularly if you have students that tend to get a little bit loud and we're constantly asking them to lower your voice, lower your voice. One example might be, okay, Sharon, when you lower your voice, then I will address your concerns. Or if and when, if and then. So it's basically the same thing. If you lower your voice, then I will address your concerns. I prefer when and then, but whichever one you prefer. They're both
similar.
They both accomplish the same goal. The interrupt is another one. So interrupt and redirect. So if you interrupt someone's behavior, redirect them to get them thinking about something else. That's another concept that might also work. Perhaps you may have experienced this situation. Interrupt and redirect might be a very good option in this instance.
So this is a perfect example of a time where you want to take that deep breath, remain calm, and choose your words wisely. Remember, your behavior is going to influence their behavior. In the situation with the Bee on the Bus, if you have the opportunity in a safe place to pull over and remove your extra passenger, that would be great. You're just having an extra passenger on board with you for a short time. Maybe it's your new mascot for the day. So has this ever happened to you? Oh my gosh.
You may not have been the intended target, and the student may think their actions are funny, not realizing how harmful or dangerous the behavior could potentially have been.
All right, this is a perfect example of a time where you want to take a deep breath, remain calm, choose your words wisely, because what I really want to say is, why, you little S. However, the best thing to do is just remain calm, and you want to consider your words. Was that very safe to do? Was that a nice thing to do? Remember, again, in any situation, take that deep breath, remain calm, and remember that your behavior influences another's behavior. So,
choose those words wisely.
Very important. So we're going to talk about some disengagement skills. So this next group of strategies can be utilized if you have certain situations beyond verbal control or beyond, that verbal confrontation. So always remember, keep your actions reasonable and proportionate to what is the situation that you find yourself in. So safety interventions that are physical are always a last resort. And you want to ask yourself, is it more beneficial if I do nothing? Or do I need to step in? So we're going to show you a few examples of some
Holds
thank you.
and, well, skills that you might be able to utilize to, again, our goal is to de-escalate things, not to escalate. So what we show you is definitely one of the more last resorts, but if you find yourself in the situations, they can help you to get out. So our first one that we're going to show you is called the hold and secure. And this may pertain a little bit more to someone who might be doing special needs. If you have a hair puller or a biter, and so I'm going to have Sharon go ahead and grab my hair and give you an idea. So she's got my hair, and she's big chunk of hair, and she's pulling my hair. So I'm going to take her hand and secure it, and then I'm going to take my other hand and look for her thumb. The thumb is the weakest point of the hand. So if you can release that thumb, you're going to typically be able to release yourself from the grip of the person grabbing you. When you hold and secure, they can't pull your hair. So you're preventing them from pulling your hair and maybe taking a huge chunk out in the process. But by holding and securing and looking for that thumb, pull away, and you usually can release yourself. I'm sure that there are many self-defense courses that have a ton of other options that are out there and available. We're just going to show you a few that we thought would be beneficial and the most usable in the school bus. So if we have a biter, so I'm going to bite Sharon's arm, not really, but I'm going to pretend like I'm biting Sharon's arm, and she's going to again use that hold and secure method.
I'm going to push down on her. Generally, when you're pushing down on somebody, their actions are wanting to pull away from you. If that happens, you have the ability then to pull yourself away. Obviously, if they're still biting, that would not work. But many times,
more of a surprise element.
It is a surprise element.
And they don't want to be constrained.
And if you're pushing down on them, you're right. They don't want to be constrained. And so chances are they may let up and let go. So that's one thing that we have found that is very beneficial.
Okay, so for grabs and holds, somebody grabs you, a child, let's say they're grabbing your coat. I love to have on like a zipper coat, or if you have a hoodie, not a hoodie, but a sweatshirt or a jacket like this, you can easily get yourself out of that hold just by releasing yourself from the jacket itself. You're no longer in that person's grasp. So that's another easy way to disengage yourself from a physical interaction. Okay, if somebody goes to grab your wrist, again, there's a couple of things you can do. You can once again exploit that that weak thumb, or the thumb area. The other thing you can do though is use your body weight and momentum to release yourself from that grip by pulling down and away. It's just a force. Okay, so down and away, and it just releases. Again, you're still working on that weak area of the hand, the thumb. Okay, so if you're in a big grip, okay, you can use your arms and a breakaway move by pulling them down. Okay, if they're tighter and you still can't, go ahead and again look for that thumb, and you're going to pull however you can to release that thumb to get away. Okay, so these are basic techniques that you can use. Again, these were the ones that we thought were most applicable for what might arise on a school bus.
Right.
Okay, and keep them proportionate to what's the behavior is going on your school bus. So regardless of the strategies or techniques you choose to engage in, remain calm, choose your words wisely, and keep in mind that your behavior will influence the behavior of others. Also keep in mind your nonverbal cues. What's your posture telling your students? What about how you say what you say, and your volume. Are they influencing the relationships you're sharing with your students? If you think it would be beneficial or you feel it pertains to you, practice the disengagement skills. They don't work unless you practice them. Do the hold and secure. Do the breakaway moves. Though we believe, and I think it would be fairly safe to say most drivers believe, that the best way to obtain and keep calm and decorum on your bus is to learn your students' names and to learn them as quickly as possible. I think it goes a long way when you take the time to not only learn their names, but learn something about them. Take an interest in who your students are as people. In the words of Dale Carnegie, a person's name is to him or her the sweetest and most important sound in any language. The concepts and ideas that were covered in what we presented today is just a small sampling of the CPI presentation that is available for the class to take. I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to do so, that you do participate in the course of the CPI program, which is a 3-day course, typically speaking. Hope you like some of the information that was presented and are able to use some of the techniques, skills, or concepts. Thanks for watching and have a great day.